The problem today is we have this gap on the futures chart. I mean, if you look at the CFD chart, we don't have this gap because it fills it. But on the futures, we do have this gap. Potentially, we can fill it today a bit, at least. Especially if, we break through this 4-hour fair value gap, then we can definitely use this kind of as a target here, this gap. So we are currently looking for sells. We can see here we have a 5-minute FEG that's forming. This looks solid. And yeah, then we can potentially take a trade. And I wanted to go over how to take a trade if you connect your broker to TradingView. That's something I wanted to go over because it was asked. So I'll explain it. It's quite simple, and it's pretty much the same if you use futures or CFD or whatever broker. It's pretty much the same because you have your trade panel here, right? Now for units, of course, this always depends on what you're trading, right? But if I go for market order, for example, which is usually how I execute my trades, right? With a market order, what I will do is I will always risk in percent, right? So I want to risk a percent balance. Let's say 1%, right? It's kind of what I want to risk. Let's put it onto sell. Now we can see here my risk, I want it to be at 1%, right? Of my account size. Now, let's say we want to take a sell right here with our stop loss. Let me mark it out, right? Let's say we want to take a sell right here with our stop loss here. This is not a trade I'm taking, by the way. I'm just using this as an example. Let's say we want to take this trade, right? So I will take where my stop loss is, right click, copy price, right? Or you can just see it here on the side, the price. Put that where the stop loss is, boom, take profit down here, copy the price, put that where the take profit is, market order, 1% risk, which is around 1 unit here. If you use CFDs or if you use micros instead of minis on the futures, you can fine tune this a little bit more. For me, it's always around 1% here. And yeah, now I've got this all set up, right? And then boom, I could, boom, I could hit sell here, right? That's how it works. You can also, if you want to have like a order like this, you can also just set this up, right click it, create limit order, and then you have the take profit and stop loss in here, and then boom, you could change it to market order as well here. But the way I like to do it is the way I just showed. Just hit trade here, put in your risk percent balance of the account. Of course, to do this, you need to have a stop loss activated here. So activate the stop loss, put it wherever you need to put the stop loss. Boom. Activate the take profit, although you can do this manually as well if you want to, but don't trade without a stop loss, guys. Always trade with a stop loss. Risk balance, 1%. Boom. Now, for example, this would be 1 unit. I could do 2 units here as well. And it's the same with Forex or futures or whatever you trade. It's always the same. If there's any more questions about this, let me know. I can also look at the depth of market here, but this is not relevant for our way of trading. So yeah, it's pretty simple, right? You can just copy the price or just put it in manually, right? So, and depending on the charts you look at, like for example, for me, here this 5-minute zone begins at 24,578, but if I look at the Forex chart, the 5-minute zone begins at 24,322, right? So the prices look a little bit different. So always make sure to take your price here and not the price that I see here, because your price is going to look different than my price, but it's the same price action at the end of the day. So yeah, that is pretty much how you do it. It's quite simple, but if there's more questions about it, let me know. I will go over them. So yeah. Let's check it out here. 5-minute zone created. 4-hour closing in 15 minutes. Let's see what happens. God damn. This is a crazy move to the downside here. Like you could take a trade here once again, kind of like yesterday. Could take a sell here now, but once again, it's just not perfect. I would like to see a retracement. So yeah, let's like I'm gonna wait here. I'm gonna wait and be patient. So let's see here what we got going on. 15-minute candle closing here in 10 minutes, as well as the 4-hour candle also closing in 10 minutes. So this is going to be an interesting close because all the candles are essentially closing 1 hour, right? 4 hour, 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute. Right? Like I said, you could trade this, you know, wherever you want with a target here, but I won't do that because it's, yeah, just once again a trade that is not perfect for me, because I would like to see some more of a retracement. For example, if we close the 15-minute now, preferably within the wick of this 15-minute. Oh, okay. Well, we just had a crazy move here. Okay, very interesting. Oops. So we can see we're getting close to our target here. This is the target that we set for sells, right? Getting pretty close to it. So let's wait and see what happens if we do hit it. Then I will require a retracement for sure to continue. So we can see we never retraced to the 5-minute here, which is why we didn't take this trade. On 15-minute, heavily bearish as well. So let's wait for some more candles to come in here to give us some more data to work with. So yeah, not much we can do right now here, except wait for these 5 minutes to go by, which will kind of confirm the bearishness on the 4-hour time frame as well. And yeah, you can see here, this is what we're currently respecting. So the target, of course, becomes this. And at that point, if we take that, we're probably also going to take this here. So we can see we tapped this here, right? We tapped the gap. Now let's see what happens here. Last 3 minutes of all these candles, 2 more minutes actually. So let's see what happens. So we can see we've got a really strong reaction here from this zone that we marked, right? Incredibly strong reaction to the upside, which is going to be interesting. We do have kind of a 5-minute area of interest here. But I want to see this 15-minute candle close. We've also here, we've taken also Asian lows here. It's also true. So yeah, it's going to be interesting here. Let's wait and see what happens. So now let's take a look, right? The candles have closed, the 4 hour has closed. Definitely bearish, right? But we have already tapped kind of the target that we had. Can we still go more bearish? Of course, right? We can. Definitely, we can potentially fill maybe the 50% of this gap here. That's what I believe we can probably do. That is a common target with gaps like these. That we fill the 50% of it is a common theme. So we'll see if we can do that, or if we want to do something else. But I want to see some sort of retracement before taking a trade. Right now we're still respecting this 1 minute FEG, but price is kind of, you know, retesting it a couple of times, which oftentimes is a sign that the zone could break, but it could also hold. So let's wait and see. So what we're seeing right now, I mean, it's incredibly boring. It's just price. You can all see it. Consolidating. What do we do when we consolidate? Yeah, you ask questions there in the chat. That's right. If you ask a question there, I'll see it. I can answer it. So yeah, we're consolidating within kind of this range here. So what often happens is we consolidate like this, we break into one direction, and then actually go into the other direction. Of course, this could be this direction, it could be this direction, right? We don't know, but yeah. Yes, the gap, right? This gap here, you can't see it on your chart because you are looking at, oh, like that. You are looking at this chart probably, where it looks like this, right? And this is the NAS 100 cash. This is not the futures price. And you can see here the gap on the futures price. It is this kind of 16 to 18 here. And you can see it's not here on this chart, right? And that's the thing with futures chart and with non-futures charts. Non-futures charts, you pretty much won't see any gaps on here because the gaps are filled with price action. But on the futures charts, if there's a gap, it simply shows it as a gap in price, but you don't have to worry about that necessarily. It doesn't happen that often, right? I mean, let's take a look at this price action. It really doesn't happen that often, but sometimes there is a gap, yes. For that reason, I do prefer looking at the futures charts if I can. But if you're looking at this chart, it's also perfectly fine, right? You don't have that gap, but it's not a problem. You can still see here, right? There might be no gap, but this here is still, you can see a liquidity pool here, right? Which gives you kind of the same target as the gap gives me essentially. So yeah, it's the difference between the charts. I wouldn't worry about it too much, but it is kind of one of the reasons why I do prefer looking at the futures charts if I can, because they are simply a little bit more accurate at the end of the day. But yeah, I've traded for a long time on the NAS 100 cash chart, and it worked out perfectly fine for me as well. So, you know, you can trade on any chart profitably. You wonder what would drive the price to the gap if there is no gap? Well, there is a gap on the futures charts, right? And the futures charts are kind of the real charts. The futures charts are the real charts essentially, and the cash, like the US 100 cash CFD, is a CFD, and a CFD is always a replica essentially of a chart. It's the broker version of a chart, right? You can see this here is provided by the liquidity provider FXCM. If I put in NAS 100, I gotta turn this off. You can see here you have it from Pepperstone, FXCM, Forex.com, Black Bull, Vantage, blah, blah, blah. All these brokers, they have essentially their own chart for this. And they will all differ a little bit, but at the end of the day, they will all be the same. But the futures chart, you can see there's no, this is just CME, which is the, you know, the data provider, the main data provider for it. So yeah, you can see that this is kind of the real chart essentially. And yeah, the CFDs are essentially a copy of it. So let's see what happens here now. 15-minute chart. Okay, interesting. Potentially maybe a retracement to this. Like we have this 15-minute zone here. If we can get a retracement to this, that would be like my preferred trade. If we get a retracement to this and then a sell, I would like that. If not, then let's see what happens here. It could be that price just dumps from here to the downside, but in that case there would be no trade for us, which is of course not a problem. But yeah, this would be of course what I had explained earlier, right? Kind of like that. That is what that would be. So it would make sense for price to do this, but let's wait and see. I would prefer price to continue up and give us a nice trade. So we can see here exactly what I said would happen did happen. We had this range, price accumulated, manipulated, and now it's distributing, right? Or it already kind of distributed. Yeah, you'll see this all the time in the market if you look for it. Essentially, you have it on all time frames, and you can see it incredibly often if we look at it. Of course, it always looks a little bit different, but yeah. This 15-minute candle is closing good for a retracement into the zone because it's not closing very bearish. So potentially we could get a retracement like we want to into the zone. Let's wait and see. So we can see retracement is happening. I like to see it. Now the question is, up until where do we retrace? Because we have the 5-minute OB here, but right above it we have a 15-minute FEG. So we won't do any guessing. We'll simply see where price holds bullish from, which is this 1-minute FEG right here. And then we'll see whether this gets broken from here, which currently it looks like it. So let's check. Just in case it does break here. Okay, but it doesn't seem to. Oh, actually it does. So we'll sell there. So we'll sell right there. And we'll buy here at limit for our TP. However, we can see right now price is going very bullish from here. So potentially we will take a loss on this, which is fine. By the way, I'm taking this on secondary accounts here because we didn't quite retrace to where I wanted to. So I'm not putting full risk on this, just on this futures account here, which I said is a challenge account. So yeah, no full risk on this trade. If we do retrace to the 15-minute zone up here and then get a setup, I might take that with main accounts as well. But yeah, the fact that we didn't quite retrace to it yet means that this trade is a little bit higher risk. So I'm not taking it on all the accounts. So the 1 minute here is acting very bullish. So I do believe we will go higher here. Put this here. And we're taken out of this trade. So we can see here total P&L, we took 1% loss right there on that. Like I said, a risk I was willing to take on this account because it doesn't matter that much, the account. But for my main accounts, I kind of want to wait until we hit the 15-minute FEG. If we do hit it, then a potential trade makes a lot more sense. I'm interested to see what ES is doing. Okay, interesting. Let's see if we can push higher here into the 15-minute zone, which would be nice. For a sell trade for us. So we can see here, price is kind of reacting to the downside, but I would like it to come up into this 15-minute zone here. Now potentially we could get a reaction from this zone, which could give us a trade kind of looking like this. But I would just like to see a retracement. So we can see here, this was inverted, the 1 minute, right? So we have this kind of bullish move happening right now. Okay, now we are continuing to the downside here. And oh, this is a big candle. I was going to say we could take a sell here, but I mean, this candle is kind of doing all the work already. So it doesn't really make any sense. Taking a sell here with a stop loss like this is just a bit crazy. So yeah, not much we can do here, to be honest. Not much we can do except wait to see if there is another opportunity that comes our way. We were a bit unlucky today, right? I mean, we took this trade here, not on our main account, not on my main account, but we took this one, which didn't work out, and then we didn't take this one here, which is kind of the trade that happened afterwards, which did work out now. So yeah, we took an L regarding that, but that's no big deal. Let's wait and see if maybe something else happens, but there's only 20 minutes left in the session, so not that much time. So yeah, we can see sort of like 13 minutes left in the session. Nothing much happening here. So I guess probably we'll end the day pretty soon. We could have kind of a potential sell still happen here if we get like a close below here. We could have something like something small happening here with this as target. But yeah, probably nothing happening. But let's wait and see for a few more minutes. So potentially we might get something here, but definitely doesn't have to be. 5 units is, I believe, the maximum we can do on this account, but anyways, price seems to, well, we'll see. Bit of uncertainty here currently with this candle, which I don't like. I don't like taking trades when price is uncertain. Also, just a few more minutes left in the session, so chances are looking high that we don't have anything else framing up for today. Ooh, actually, some bearishness coming in here again. Interesting. Let's check it out. Yeah, but now the bullishness is coming back. This is, I mean, yeah, price is just kind of ranging right now. We'll wait for 8 more minutes since the session ends in 8 minutes anyways. but it's not looking like we'll get anything else today unless we have a strong push to the downside now. So yeah, strong bullishness entering here. Seven minutes left in the session in this 15-minute candle, 6 minutes left, but let's see, we can see here ever since kind of 950, price has just been trapped in this range. So there's actually heavy bearishness coming in on this candle here. If we do get a close below here in the next 5 minutes, we could take a trade like this. It's a 1-to-1 R trade essentially. But it is something that we could take. Why only 1-to-1 and why not aiming for somewhere here? Simply because it's late, right? It's late in the day. We don't want to overdo it or anything. Let's see what happens in the next few minutes. Three more minutes essentially is all we have left. We can see bearishness through this FEG here. But as long as we're trapped in between these FEGs, I'm not going to do anything. So we'll wait. I want to quickly check if there's any SMT or so. Not really. So this candle closed bearish here. I do also like the fact that we have this, because this can potentially reduce our SL here. If we do get a trade, we could put the SL here now, which is more aggressive, but like I said, we're not taking this on the main account anyways, these trades here today. So let's see what happens with this candle. It seems to be respecting the bullish FEG though. And if it does, there is only one more candle left in the session. So yeah, we're done for the session, done for the day here. And I'll see you all again tomorrow, right? Tomorrow we have FOMC, so it's going to be an interesting trading day. Other than that, this candle, will let it close, but I mean, it's closing in 10 seconds, so I don't believe it will do anything significant. We could see if we can get a bearish move here now though. Hold on. Because we're getting a move here currently. But it's incredibly bearish already now. So there's no real point in taking this, because it doesn't make sense from an RR perspective. So yeah, we're done for the day. All right, see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.